Welcome to Ancient Echoes, Coins and Culture of the Ancients, the channel that takes you on a captivating journey through the intricate tapestry of history, numismatics, and the rich cultural heritage of civilizations long past. I'm your host, and together we'll dive deep into the fascinating world of ancient coins. Those small, metallic windows into the past that reveal stories of empires, trade, artistry, and the essence of societies that once flourished. Join me as we uncover the secrets behind these small but powerful artefacts, exploring the tales they tell about economies, politics, art, and the daily lives of our predecessors. We'll venture into the remarkable cultures that minted these coins, decoding symbols, inscriptions, and designs that carry the echoes of distant eras. So, whether you're a seasoned numismatist, a history enthusiast, or someone eager just to discover the hidden gems of antiquity, Ancient Echoes is your gateway to the enthralling world of coins and culture from ages gone by. Okay, today we're going to be talking about walls, in particular ancient Roman walls. Walls are an impressive statement of a city's power and wealth. Circling an entire urban area with a defensible wall circuit is always a major undertaking, requiring huge reserves of manpower, engineering expertise, and materials. Many Roman cities had impressive wall circuits. For example, the Romano-British town of Silchester acquired an impressive stone and concrete wall and embankment, perhaps 6 metres high, around the 3rd century AD. This wall would have been enormously expensive to build, requiring about 150,000 wagon loads of building stone, some of it brought in from quarries over 80 kilometres away, and much of it still stands to this day. Though walls could be symbols of urban prestige, they could also be considered an admission that a city faced a military threat. Rome had no functioning city walls during the centuries of her greatest power and prominence. They simply weren't needed. However, the creation of the late imperial Aurelianic walls, mighty as they are, can therefore be seen as a sign of a weakening empire. Rome's earliest wall circuit is traditionally called the Servian Wall, after legendary King Servius Tullius, whose dates are conventionally given as 578 to 534 BC. The extension of the earliest hilltop settlements into a single urban community attributed to Rome's kings by Roman writers like Livy included establishing a ceremonial sacred boundary called the Pomerium, but also the construction of a physical wall circuit to guard against local rivals. Stretches of this 11-kilometre wall circuit survive, englobed in later buildings, including, surprisingly, the McDonald's restaurant in the basement of Termini railway station. These archaeological remains actually come from rather later than King Servius's traditional 6th century BC date. The wall was built of a greyish tufa stone called Grotta Oscura, which came from quarries near Veii, a city which Rome did not capture until 396 BC. The 4th century BC saw Rome threatened by invasion, so the construction of a wall circuit around that date would have been appropriate. But by then the city was ruled under a republican constitution, not by the kings who were traditionally believed to have built the walls. These walls were one factor that helped turn Rome's great Carthaginian enemy Hannibal against an attempt to capture the city in 211 BC. By the time Rome's first emperor Augustus took power in the 1st century BC, this old wall circuit had fallen into disrepair. Rome was no longer threatened close to home. Roman poets of this date referred to the wall's rampart as a place for strolling where entertainers and fortune tellers could be found. And the Greek writer Dionysius of Halicarnassus makes it clear that the city had expanded well beyond the confines of the old wall. And from Roman Antiquities 4.13, Dionysius states, "And if someone looking at these suburbs should want to estimate the size of Rome, he will be forced to go astray and will have no definite indication by which he can determine the point up to which it's still in the city, and from where it begins not be the city, as the built-up area is so woven onto its surrounding countryside that it gives to those looking at the impression of a city stretching out forever. But if he should try and gauge Rome's size by means of the city wall, which is hard to locate because of the buildings that are constructed over and around it in many locations, but which preserves traces of its old course in several places, and to measure it against the wall circuit which surrounds the theatre in Athens, the circuit at Rome would not seem to him much larger than that." Moving on, Rome survived until the 3rd century AD without any replacement for this redundant wall. Then threats from the north led by the Emperor Aurelian to start constructing in AD 271 the 19-kilometre circuit which now bears his name. By this date the Romans had a different building material to use, brick-faced concrete, which allowed them to build bigger, faster and cheaper than they could using cut stone. Developments in military technology saw the inclusion of large gate towers and platforms for artillery weapons such as catapults. The relatively hasty and economical construction of this wall circuit is shown by the way it englobed earlier structures where it could, making them part of the wall rather than skirting around them or knocking them down. The most conspicuous of these are the late 1st century BC pyramid-shaped tomb near Ostian Station and a small amphitheatre named the Caesarean Palace complex on the southeast edge of the city. The nearby tomb of the baker Arasakis was also preserved inside a large gateway in the wall that was demolished, revealing the remains of the tomb by Pope Gregory in the 1830s. The Aurelianic wall was upgraded in the 4th and 5th centuries AD by the emperors Honorius and Arcadius, doubling its height. However, even this mighty wall could not prevent the eventual sack of Rome by the Goths in AD 410, when they managed to enter by one of its great gates. And lastly, since the wall was built from cannot be reused unlike cut stone and is hard to break up, large sections of this wall circuit still survive. Indeed, parts of it were used defensively until as recently as 1870. Its circuit is easily visible in overhead shots of any modern photography of Rome, and often define the edge of the city in maps and plans. However, as Dionysius Helicarnassus reminds us, it was not always that easy to say where the city ended and the countryside began. Suburbs of lower density building, parkland, tombs, market gardens, farmland and industrial sites like brickyards continued out for miles. As we come to the end of this episode of Ancient Echoes, Coins and Culture of the Ancients, I want to thank you for joining me on this exploration of the past through the lens of numismatics. The journey we've embarked on is just the beginning, and there are countless more ancient coins and stories to uncover. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to continue delving into the captivating tales of ancient civilizations, be sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. Until next time, I'm reminding you that the echoes of the past are still all around us waiting to be heard. Thank you for tuning into Ancient Echoes, Coins and Culture of the Ancients.